Reading novels and newspapers, browsing through the internet content, listening to old stories from grandpa and grandma. What's your first impression of the past Soviet Union and present Russia? Is it something far away and dark and scary? Is it bleeding from constant war and conflicts? Is it suffering the brutal impact of totalitarianism? You'll find the answers most close to truth here in the book Secondhand Time, The Last of the Soviets, written by Svetlana Alexievich. Svetlana Alexievich is a Belarusian journalist, essayist, and oral historian who was awarded the 2015 Nobel Prize in Literature. She contributes to the way of storytelling called polyphony, which is a feature of narrative that includes different points of views and voices without the author's monologic control over the work. And in her books, originally published in Russian, this is demonstrated by her records of interviews with different people with later additions and annotations. Secondhand Time, The Last of the Soviets, is a collection of interviews with Russian people of different backgrounds, focusing on their experiences during the period from the early 90s to the beginning of the 21st century. The book is divided into 2 parts, and each contains 10 different chapters, telling 10 different stories. Part 1 included interviews from 1991 to 2001, during the time the USSR internally disintegrated itself and Russia transited to capitalism. Interviewees refer to memorable historical events that happened back then: the election in June that made Yeltsin the president, the 1991 Soviet coup attempt in August to overthrow Gorbachev, the desperate suicide of Sergei Ekronomeyev, the resignation of Gorbachev, and then the dissolution of the Soviet Union. Part 2 selected interviews conducted from 2002 to 2012 in modern capitalist Russia under Putin's government. Stories told by workers, immigrants, refugees, and students reveal their struggle of living in a society undergoing the aftermath of terrorist attacks, the Nagorno-Karabakh war, and corruption. Pain seemed to be the universal experience all Russians shared, in the past and present, in the Soviet Union and in capitalist Russia, and it seemed never able to heal. In Second-Hand Time, we see how people react to it. There were people with beliefs and there were some with none. There were people who endured and carried the pain through their life, and there were some who could not stand it any further. Except for telling history, storytellers also talked about their life, the little fragments of their memory, the loving details of their family, and the electricity of romance can be found everywhere in the book. Not only the big things is discussed, we also get to know how a small figure lives their lives and make their way through the turmoil and unrest of their motherland, experiencing the intricacy of humanity. We listen to those dear people with different backgrounds, identities, and perspectives, and learned not only about history, but also life, death, belief, and love. That's the end of the video. The Secondhand Time is a really good book. Please have a read. If you like our video, please subscribe our channel and wait for future updates.